Joseph Parker and Carlos Takam have weighed in ahead of their fight in New Zealand on Saturday. Joseph Parker weighed in at 106.4 kilos and Carlos Takam weighed in at 108.4 kilos. And they use the metric system in New Zealand, so that's why I'm giving you it in kilos. In pounds, Joseph Parker was 234 pounds and Carlos Takam was 241 pounds. So for those of us who like to deal in pounds, that's the pounds. And for those of you on the metric system, there's the weights in kilos. Now, both guys looked in shape as you can expect. Carlos Takam is by far the more chiseled, ripped guy, but he's not the better athlete here. Joseph Parker has got much quicker hands and much quicker feet than Carlos Takam. But one thing I can say about Takam coming in at that weight, he is significantly lighter for this fight than he was against Povetkin, for example, and than he was in many of his big fights in the past, when he fought Mike Perez, when he fought Tony Thompson, for example. This is a very, very low weight for him. He looked in tremendous condition. He's obviously trained extremely hard, and you can imagine that his stamina and his work rate may be even better than usual in this fight. And Carlos Takam is known for having tremendous stamina and tremendous work rate, tremendous physical strength. David Haye has had Carlos Takam in for sparring on several occasions, apparently. And he rates Takam very highly. Let's just put it that way. He said he had him in for sparring and he was way tougher than Chisora. And he actually advised in a couple of his interviews Eddie Hearn to keep Joshua away from Carlos Takam for now. And he also talked about Joseph Parker fighting Takam, and he says, Joseph Parker taking on Takam, Takam is better than anybody that Wilder or Joshua has fought before. David Haye really rates Takam very highly. From what I've seen of Takam in his career, and I've seen obviously a lot of his fights and what have you, yes, he is a very, very tough man, very physically strong. I guess it is kind of fair to say he's a better version of Derek Chisora, punches more correctly, is actually in top shape all the time or most of the time. And yeah, I'd say a better Chisora. Takam can actually box a little bit on the back foot, which is something Chisora can do, but he's been encouraged not to do, particularly when he was with Don Charles. Takam can actually do that. He can stick a move when he has to. He did it against Povetkin for the first few rounds and actually did it quite successfully. So anyway, long story short, I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. Can't wait for it. And this is very important, by the way. I should have mentioned this earlier on in the video, in case some of you are tuned out already. This fight is in New Zealand, so be careful what time zone you're in if you want to catch this fight. In the UK, don't quote me, but I believe they're going to put it on Sky Sports in the morning. Okay, Saturday morning, not Sunday morning, like most big fights that take place on Saturday, which are abroad. In the UK, you're going to have to wait until the early hours of Sunday morning, like 2, 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. sometimes, maybe later, for fights in the United States if you live in the UK. But this fight here is in New Zealand, so it's going to be basically, they're 12 hours ahead, I think, of the UK, something like that. So if you're in the UK and you want to watch this fight, it's going to be in the morning, maybe 9, 10, 11 in the morning, something like that. Yeah, make sure you check with Sky Sports. And for the rest of the world, again, check out how your time zone correlates with or differs from the New Zealand time zone, because it's going to be on a very unusual time for most boxing fans. Yeah, unless you live out there near New Zealand and Australia and whatnot. But if you're anywhere in Europe or America, it's going to be a very unusual time for you. Yeah. So anyway, people, let me know how you feel about this fight. Who are you picking? How do you see this fight going? A lot of people are taking Takam to pull the upset, and it's understandable because he's fought at a much higher level than Joseph Parker. And this is a very big leap for Joseph Parker, particularly when you look at the level of opposition he's been fighting lately. So a lot of people picking Takam for the upset. Whatever way it goes, I'm just hoping for a good fight, and I think we'll get a good fight. Very much looking forward to it. If I'm put on the spot and I have to pick a winner, I'm going to go with Joseph Parker. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if Takam pulled off the upset. And if he did pull off the upset, sorry, excuse me. If he did pull off the upset, I would think he'd most likely be winning the fight by late stoppage, Carlos Takam, if he pulls off the upset. Him getting a decision, going to be very difficult in New Zealand. Can't see him stopping Joseph Parker early. Again, heavyweight boxing, anything is possible. We're talking about probabilities here. And in my mind's eye, when I'm looking at the probabilities, the most likely scenarios in this fight, I would think if there's going to be an early KO or a mid-round KO, it'll most likely be Parker getting that KO and stopping Takam early or mid in the fight. Sorry, or mid-rounds in the fight. If he goes to points, it's most likely going to be Parker, whether he deserves it or not. But if it's going to be a late stoppage, it's going to be Takam. So that's why I'm taking Parker to win the fight, because I do think he's more talented, first of all, but also because of the fact that Takam is not a particularly explosive puncher. He's not a particularly fast starter. Tends to come on later on in fights, although, you know, he did good boxing against Povetkin early on. But generally he comes on later on in fights like he did against Mike Perez. And yeah, Parker is the guy who starts a bit faster. He's got faster hands, the fast twitch muscles. So if, you know, I just think Parker's got a better chance all round of winning. But if it goes late, that's when Takam's experience may come into play. And his stamina and whatnot, his work rate late in the fight. So if Takam pulls off the upset, I'm going to say that he'll probably do it late. Yeah? Drop your comments below, people. Let me know how you feel about this whole fight and the weigh-in and the type of shape both guys are in. Why do you think Takam's coming so light? Do you think he's just trained a hell of a lot harder than he's trained before? Or do you think it's really strategic? Let me know in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.